Said I was just watching the news coming in. They said, it's amazing you can find the time in this busy schedule. Believe me, you're the time. My schedule's not the time. Although we do have a couple of interesting things happening. We just had fantastic reports on inflation, way down. Cost of products, way down. We inherited a mess, total mess, and now it's really coming along. We have the greatest numbers that we've ever had. We're hitting all-time high stock numbers. We're hitting all-time high S&P and Dow numbers. You saw that 3 days ago, the end of the first year. They said that it was going to take maybe 4 years, the end of the term, to hit 50,000 on the Dow. And likewise, to hit 7,000 on the S&P was going to take at least 4 years, could be 5 or 6. We did it in 1 year. So, and all I know is forget about the stock market, forget about Wall Street. Your 401ks are doing very well. I don't have to ask you. Is anybody doing poorly with their 401k? If they were, you're a pretty bad investor, I'll tell you. But I want to thank Melania. The country is truly blessed to have such a phenomenal First Lady. And now she's a movie star. She did a movie. It's the hottest thing she's done. It's crazy. Congratulations, by the way. Very good. You know who loves that movie? The ladies. They go see it 3-4 times. That's what I heard. They go see it with the husband. The husband really likes it a lot, but the women go back and see it. But she's a great First Lady. And I'm thrilled to be back on one of the greatest and most celebrated military bases in the history of the world, Fort Bragg. We have your name back. We got your name back from the radical left. The radical left is not happy about it. It's another reason you have to vote for us, because they'll change it back to whatever it might be. This is the home of the legendary Green Berets, the home of the Sky Dragons, and the All-American 82nd Airborne. And in particular, I hear that we are joined by many exceptional soldiers from the 1st Brigade Combat Team, also known as the Devils in Baggy Pants. What's that? And I have no higher honor in life than to be your Commander-in-Chief. I'm so proud of you all. And so let me begin by saying a very, very big thank you to our great warriors and the men and women of the United States Army. Unbelievable. Very special thanks also to all of the incredible military families who are here today. You know, without that family, our soldiers would not be the same. It's a whole big deal. I don't think they get enough credit, but they do get credit with me. That's why I sent you 1776 a couple of weeks ago, a little while ago. We had a lot of money coming into our country from tariffs. And I said, let's send a little to us. So, you know, they came in and they said, sir, we could use 1,775. I said, oh, that's good. They put the number. I said, you know, we had $1 more, 1776. I said, add a dollar. Add a dollar. Did everybody get 1776? I think so. You think the Democrats would have done that? Forget it. But it's really because of your incredible sacrifices to keep. We have another man who is running for the Senate, who is phenomenal. The only thing is, he's not as well known. He was behind the scenes. He was the head of my 3 campaigns. I won all 3 times here by a lot. It wasn't even close. And he was responsible, along with Laura Trump. Laura was fantastic. Born here and loves the area, but they work together. But Michael Watley, if he's here, I don't know, Michael, will you come here for a second, please? He's running for the Senate, and if he gets in, you're going to be taken care of. If he doesn't get in, we're going to be stripping the military like they always do, the Democrats. This is a man who was the head of North Carolina, so he did so well that I said, who is that guy that did so well? Because when it came time to picking the head of the Republican Party, I picked him. And you saw what happened in the last election. We won in the landslide. We won every swing state, all 7 swing states. We won by millions of votes, the popular vote. You know, the first time I won, but they say I didn't win the popular vote. You know I did. I won it by a lot, but they say I didn't. So every time they introduced Donald Trump, who didn't win the popular vote, but he, you know, whatever. I said, I don't ever want that to happen again. But we did, we won everything. And this is a man that was in charge of this state. He did so well here There was nobody else that I even considered to run the RNC. That's the whole country. And we had a big victory just recently that you know very well. A victory like they've never seen. So I'd just like you to say a couple of words, Michael. Congratulations.
In 2015, Donald Trump came down an escalator and said that he was going to make America great, that he was going to protect our country, that he was going to make sure that our men and women in uniform had what they needed to protect our interests and our allies around the world. And North Carolina stood up and said, that's our guy. And in his term in office, and in this term in office, there has never been a president who has fought for Fort Bragg, who has fought for the men and women in uniform in North Carolina, as well as our veterans, more and harder and better than Donald J. Trump, our 45th and 47th President of the United States of America. I am thrilled that he has asked me to run for Senate in North Carolina and is giving me an opportunity to represent you and to fight for you and every other base that we have in this great state, to protect our interests, to make sure that America and our allies are going to be protected. Because the highest, most important function for any government is to keep its communities and its citizens safe, and we have the best president right now to do that, and I am honored to be with him today.
So with the help of everyone in this room, America is the strongest military on the face of the earth. We rebuilt it. We really did. We rebuilt it in my first term. We had a great first term. We had the best economy in history, but this is blowing it away. But we had a great economy in the first term. We did everything, but we really created a tremendous military. Now, some of it was given away, actually a lot, but small compared to what we did to Afghanistan. You remember that? Where they left all the military equipment behind. We wouldn't have left anything. We were going to get it with dignity and strength, respect. We looked like we were running. We don't run from anybody. It was a Biden embarrassment. What a terrible president. But we came back and we already have rebuilt our military to stronger than it was even then. And we don't leave equipment behind. We don't leave jets behind. They said, why do you leave those jets behind? Sir, I thought it was cheaper to leave it behind. You know, $150 million plane. All they had to do was put a little jet fuel in there and fly it to wherever they want to fly it. These people were the worst. We can't let it happen again. Our military, if the Democrats get in, will be severely misserved. But we rebuilt it in my first term, and now we're making it stronger, bigger, and better than ever before. The recruiting is through the roof. You know that after years of recruiting shortfalls, as an example, new enlistments have soared to record highs. We had, a year and a half ago, nobody wanted to join the military. They didn't want to join the Army. You know that. It was like terrible. They didn't want to join the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, or my beloved. How about that? Space Force. We like Space Force. Turning out to be very important. But they tried to end that, and actually the military refused to allow that to happen. But you couldn't get people to join. And as soon as we won the election, that election took place on November 5th. From November 5th on, it was like a miracle. Now we have waiting lists for every branch of the military, waiting lists of people. In other words, your jobs are wanted by everybody. And isn't that a better feeling? I'm looking at the smiling faces. You've got a lot of smiling faces. You should be smiling. Last year, the Navy and Air Force and Space Force all surpassed their recruiting goals by 5 months early, and the numbers are through the roof. In fact, you have a very good time to expand. It's a good time to expand. But the Army did even better than the others, and you shattered your annual recruitment by almost 5 months and lots of days, but more importantly, the number and the quality of recruiters has never been higher. This year, the Army is beating its recruitment goal by 116%, and very proud of that. I was very embarrassed for a period of years as I watched how badly this country was run, standing outside and hearing constantly that we couldn't get people to join our great forces. We ended the scourge of political correctness in our military. We renamed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Think of it, we won World War I. We won everything. World War II. And everything before, during, and a little bit after, except we fought a little bit differently. We fought to be politically correct. We were a politically correct force with the presidents. But now we have a real force, and you see that with what we did in Iran with the B-2 bombers. You were involved in that. And what we did recently in Venezuela, nobody ever saw anything like that happen. A Venezuelan general who was on the site, but he moved out fast enough that he lived, which most of them didn't, but he was on the site. He said, we were totally prepared. We saw the planes coming, we saw everything coming. They're a good, strong force. And he said, we got hit like nobody's, they were hit from 17 different directions. He said, there's never been anything like that. It was over in like literally a minute. Everybody was running for the hills. And that's what we have. We have the strongest military in the world by far. We have the best equipment. We have the greatest people, soldiers. We brought back merit as the sole consideration for advancement and promotion in our military. We won the Supreme Court case shockingly in that case. The courage to come up with that decision. Now you want to get into a college, it's based on merit, it's not based on anything else. You want to get into the military, you gotta have a little muscle. You gotta be strong, like these people. It's like, you're like Central Casting. Look at all these beautiful looking people. But you have to be a certain type to do well. And we were taking anybody that wanted to get in because we wanted to be politically correct. No, it's based on merit now. You get into the military based on merit. And other places also based on merit. There might be advantages to other people in other fields. But this is all based on merit. As long as I'm president, we will be the best led, the best trained, the best equipped, the most disciplined, and the most elite fighting force the world has ever seen. Last summer, I ordered devastating strikes on Iran's key nuclear facilities and something that was called Operation Midnight Hammer. That's exactly what it was. 1 o'clock in the morning at midnight with no moon. You couldn't see a thing. And I got the message, sir, they have entered Iranian airspace. And I got to see it all take place. It was amazing. The B-2s, the flying wing. And I didn't understand the B-2s until then, but now I understand them very well. So we just ordered a lot more. The super duper new model, right? But they flew in, they were totally undetected. And those pilots, I met the pilots, I had them down to the White House, the Oval Office, I gave them all medals actually. And I said, did you really like doing this stuff? They're flying into very hostile territory. And they said, sir, we couldn't wait. In fact, they wanted to wait. You saw what was happening. People wanted to wait. And the pilots and the commander called me and said, sir, we're ready to go. Don't worry about that. That weather's nothing. We want to go, sir. We want to go. Now, if it were me, I'd say, shit, take it easy, just relax. But, you people have a lot of courage. Amazing, amazing. So we gave them medals, but that was Operation Midnight Hammer, achieving total obliteration of the Iran nuclear potential capability, totally obliterated. And I think every single one of those 100,000-pound bombs hit its target, which happens to be an air shaft that goes directly into the facility. I don't think they'll be building airships anymore. That's not a good concept. They want to get into the air. They want to get into the fresh air. It didn't work out too well. No other country on earth could have done what we did. No other country has the weapons. No other country has the skill. No other country has the guts. And no other country has the extraordinary warriors that we have. We have the best warriors in the world. You can have the greatest equipment, but if you don't have the warriors, the equipment doesn't mean much. Last month we proved this truth once again when some of our greatest soldiers right here to ever live, frankly, successfully captured the outlaw dictator of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, and brought him back to face American justice, where he's right now waiting. And that was an amazing night. People saw that as they've never seen anything like it. It's a pretty military country. It was a big base, one of the biggest bases in South America, where he lived. And it was in a matter of minutes before he was on a helicopter being taken out of there. They had to go through steel doors. The steels were it was like paper mache. You know what paper mache is? this week paper. These guys blasted through every door. They got up to him before he got to the big safe, but that wouldn't have worked either because they had equipment that was going to knock that out in a matter of minutes. But he never got there. It went so fast. Think of it, in a matter of minutes, when people realize what happened, they're looking up and it's the helicopter heading back to aircraft carriers. So that night, the entire world saw what the full military might, the U.S. military is capable of. That was an unbelievable operation, but that was a smaller operation. But it was so precise, so incredible. Nobody thought a thing like that could happen. They even talked about the discombobulator because they never got a shot off. The Russian equipment didn't work, the Chinese equipment didn't work. Everyone's trying to figure out why it didn't work. Someday you're going to find out. But it didn't work. It's nice when you can fly it and not get shot at. Although we did have 3 helicopter pilots who were wounded pretty badly in the legs, landing, and a couple of machine gunners seemed to have made it through a thicket of bombs, but they were taken out rapidly by snipers who were stationed on platforms. Actually, unbelievable helicopter platforms all the way the line. And they were taken out immediately. And those pilots were incredible and really brave. I might see some of them very shortly. They were hit pretty bad in the legs. You know, they're landing a big chopper and they're being shot at from close range by a machine gun. So it's not a comfortable feeling. They landed it perfectly and they got out of there perfectly, and they're just brave guys and very talented, skilled people. With the help, America is winning again. America is respected again. And perhaps most importantly, we are feared by the enemies all over the globe. They fear us. You know, I don't like to say fear, but sometimes you have to have fear because that's the only thing that really will get the situation taken care of.